today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit of the history background and how to use our two major digital initiatives here at the State Library, Indiana Memory and Hoosier State Chronicles. So first we'll start with Indiana Memory. So what is Indiana Memory? Well, it was launched in 2008 and it's our digital platform for Indiana's cultural heritage. And we collaborate with libraries and cultural heritage institutions all across the state, including the Allen County Public Library. And we have a web portal to provide access, which is indianamemory.org. And in the other component of this presentation today, I'll kind of show you guys the website and how to use it. And so with Indiana Memory, we have well over 150 partners. I think it's the numbers, exact numbers, like 156 or 157 now. Over 400 collections, over 500,000 individual historical items that you can view on Indiana Memory. We use, for the most part, the vast majority of our collections are on Content DM, which is our content management system. And we use the new responsive version, which is even better for those who use tablets or iPhones or anything in between to do research on like a mobile app instead of, or a mobile device instead of a computer. And obviously we have our web interface, which I discussed earlier, integrated features, which we'll get into a little bit later. And then we also harvest materials from non-Content DM sources. So for example, we do have a couple collections in Indiana Memory, the Harvest from Past Perfect, if you are familiar with that content management system. A lot of museums use Past Perfect, and we collaborate with Indiana Album and I believe Pawnee, which is our public academic libraries of Northern Indiana, Pawnee, which includes like Butler University and so on. So this is the home page of Indiana Memory. We're hoping to do a big revamp of our Indiana Memory website within the next year or two. We're sort of in the preliminary planning stages of how we can make this website even more user-friendly and aesthetically pleasing for those who use it. But this is what it's looked like for a number of years now, and we're pretty happy with it. So as you'll see on the home page, we have some examples of things that we have on the website. Our search bar is at the top. You type in your searches there. At the bottom, we have 4 little tabs. We have the collections across Indiana. So if you click that box, it'll take you to all the different lists. It'll take you to a full listing of all of our different collections. Indiana newspapers, that box will actually take you to the Hoosier State Chronicles website, which we'll be discussing here a little bit. We have a page for teacher resources, as well as a collection list, provides other collections as well. And so you'll notice that we have the search results here. And so we have the search results here, and you'll notice they are faceted. So you have faceted results. It will tell you, so if you type in a name, it'll show you what might pull up. We also will tell you the collection it comes from and different subjects related to the search term that you put in. You can click on an individual item there, and then it will provide you the metadata with that individual item. And then you'll notice the source link there on the left, on the right image rather, that will have the indianahistory.org. So that's so that you'll do that, and that takes you to the actual website itself. So this is the single object results page. So if you have a single object within Indiana Memory, it'll display like this. There's some newer features with Content DM that we're really happy with, especially with the image viewer. The image is now, the way that Content DM used to display images, it used to kind of show you the image kind of halfway down the page, and it was kind of a little bit more difficult to use. They've really changed up the image viewer on Content DM, and it's so much easier to use now. And I'll actually show you this in real time here in a little bit. And then here's a compound object. So what's the difference between a single object and a compound object? A single object is going to be like one image. And then a compound object is one that's going to have more than one images. So you'll notice here we have a birth certificate. This is part of our genealogy collection here at the State Library, and it has a front and a back. So it's a compound object. And so you can click on each individual component of the object as a whole and review it. And then you'll notice here we have our metadata. We try to do our metadata as clearly and as detailed as possible. So you'll notice we'll have a title. We have an item ID, which shows you the sort of the internal file name. That's mostly for us. A description, we'll have subjects. Our subjects follow the Library of Congress content headings. as well as the arts and arts, the arts thesaurus. Date of the original, time period, location, formatting, and the repository it's originally from. And then our right statements down here at the bottom, we use uniform right statements from writestatements.org. That way you guys can get a very clear sense of if something is out of copyright or not. In the case of the birth certificate, this one is in copyright with educational use permitted. And then we provide a use statement. So if you were doing genealogy research, say, and you were writing a book that you were intending to publish for publication in a commercial way, you would reach out to us or to the institution of the original institutional holder of that particular object, and then you would get permission from them. But the right statements in our metadata give you a good sense of whether you can use something or not. You can also search within the object. So if it's compound object, this is from our Hoosier History Live collection. I imagine there might be a few here that are listeners of Hoosier History Live, the weekly radio show broadcasted out of the University of Indianapolis with the great Nelson Price. We've started to digitize some of their archives through Indiana Memory, and this is one of their episodes. It's about railroads, right? So if you search within the record railroads, you'll get all of these different hits. And that goes for any object that you pull up. So that's Indiana Memory. And we'll come back to that when I kind of show you guys a live demonstration. And then this is, we're going to discuss now Hoosier State Chronicles. So Hoosier State Chronicles is our statewide historic digital newspaper collection. It was launched in 2011, and it was a component of Chronicling America, which is the national digital newspaper program, which is a joint project between the Library of Congress and the National Endowment for the Humanities. And we started our digitization here at the library with a NDNP grant back in 2011. And this is where we house all of our digital newspapers, and we collaborate, like with Indiana Memory, with libraries and cultural heritage institutions all across the state. And we also have that web portal that provides access, which is HoosierStateChronicles.org. The URLs are fairly easy to remember, which is kind of nice. So what is Hoosier State Chronicles still? Well, like I said, HoosierStateChronicles.org. We have nearly 300 titles. We have 137,198 issues and almost 1.2 million pages. And I actually think this has changed a little bit since we last prepared this documentation for this presentation here. The number is actually over 1.272 million now. We've added a whole bunch of new stuff since I prepared this presentation. These are fully text searchable, just like the objects in Indiana Memory, and they're downloadable. So you can download a PDF of the issue, you can download a PDF of the page, and you can also download JPEGs of the pages as well. This is Chronicling America, so this is an even bigger repository that you can check out. That Hoosier State Chronicles rather feeds into. So we have about 1.272 million pages on our website, HoosierStateChronicles.org. And then of that, a subset of that, we have about 400,000 pages in Chronicling America that we've done through an NDNP grant. So that's over 17 million pages, 1789 to 1963, over 3,000 titles from 48 states, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C. And sorry, I put the URL there twice for some reason, but yeah, chroniclingamerica.loc.gov. And if you don't remember the exact URL, if you just type in Chronicling America on Google, it'll pop right up. So finding your history. So like Hoosier State Chronicles, Chronicling America is both full text search as well as directory search. You could search by name, you can search by place, time, keyword, by certain pages, visual search results, pan and zoom, full screen view, so on and so forth. Directory search is the same way. So you can search by place, time, keyword, format, subject, etc. It also has WorldCat data for those who are librarians who use that as well. And like I said, keyword search. So this is the Hoosier State Chronicles homepage. This screen cap is actually a little old. This is probably from a couple years ago. It has only 943,000. We've added 300,000 plus pages since we've done this screen cap of this image. But this is the home page. And so you'll have the home, you've got search, titles, and so forth. So this is the faceted searching. This is what your search will look like. It's actually changed slightly since these screen caps were made, and I will show you those in the sort of real-time demonstration of both websites. But you'll type in Hoosier, you'll get the different results. And then you can also choose by like time periods. You can put in a date range. You can also then choose the titles. The other thing that's nice as well is that you can refine your search here on the left-hand side. So you can choose the title there, you can choose a time period there, and then the tags. The tags are really, really cool, and I'll go into those when I show you guys the live demonstration. So here's some search tips for you. So I imagine a lot of people here on the call today are fairly savvy with tech if they're interested in learning more about digitized materials. But for those who maybe are new to searching through online sources, one thing that really helps to limit your search results and make for even better search results is putting quotes around your subject. So if you're looking up, say, Lew Wallace, the famed Civil War general and author of the legendary novel Ben-Hur, sometimes it's better to put his name in quotes and you'll get a much better search result than you would otherwise. You can also try variations on names. So his full name was Lewis Wallace, so you could try that. And then you have like Henry S. Lane or H.S. Lane. You can try different spellings of a last name. Homer Stonebreaker was a successful basketball player from Indiana. And so you can try his name with different spellings. You can also try by titles like General Wallace, Senator By, Mrs. Harrison, so on and so forth. Wildcards are just random things you might be able to find, and then proximity. So, you can do like Wallace, Ben-Hur, wooden basketball. You can do those different terms as well. And you can also put those in quotes and you'll get a better feel for what you might get. Other suggestions I would provide you as well is, especially if you're looking at like 19th century newspapers, which a huge chunk of Hoosier State Chronicles is, let's say you're doing genealogy research and somebody's name is like G.W. Smith. And you're like, man, I wonder what their first name is. Well, if it's G.W., chances are it's going to be George Washington. So think about historical figures, because a lot of people are named after that. Let's say somebody's name is T.J. Johnson or something like that. That might be Thomas Jefferson Johnson. So you might try Thomas Johnson or Thomas J. Johnson. Sometimes people would shorten names. So like Charles becomes C-H-A-S period in 19th century newspapers. Thomas is the same way. It's like T-H-O-S with like a period, like an abbreviation. If somebody's name is with an MC, like McNutt, former Indiana Governor Paul McNutt, sometimes his name won't show up as McNutt with a C, but it'll be M'' Nut. And they did that sometimes just to save space on the paper. So those are a bunch of different kind of search tips for looking into things as well. And then we have this fun picture here. This is from the Terre Haute Tribune press room from the Indiana State University archives. And I've always thought that this guy who's like proofreading stuff here looks a lot like the actor Mark Rylance. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Bridge of Spies, but he definitely looks like Mark Rylance. I always think that's kind of interesting. So here's where Hoosier State Chronicles really goes to the next level. So we have crowdsourced optical character recognition text, or OCR. So what is OCR, okay? So it's a software program, and what it does is it reads the page of a newspaper and tries to figure out exactly what characters are on a particular page. And with that, we get searchable text. So if you've ever downloaded a PDF and you can highlight the PDF and you can copy and paste some of that text into a Word document, that's what that is. It's OCR text. Well, sometimes with older newspapers especially, you may not get the best view of a corrected text. So for example, you'll notice here on the right, we have this page, Philip Nicoloy's Premium Fine Art Gallery, right? Well, look over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice, man, this just does not look very good. It kind of looks like some hieroglyphics over here. Well, there's a reason for that. Part of it is because it has some time. OCR software, because again, it's an algorithmic program. It's just running software, right? It's not done by people. It doesn't always have the easiest time with fonts. And then sometimes you'll notice here, you'll see all this bleed through on the other page. Sometimes it'll pick this up too, and it doesn't really know what to do with it. This is where you come in. So if you create a free account online at HoosierStateChronicles.org, you can become a volunteer and actually improve this text for us. So it can go from this to this, where you can go in and you can fix all of this and make it even better for researchers. We are so indebted to our volunteers who have done incredible work going in and fixing this OCR text to make it even better for researchers. I'm so proud of the work they've done, and I'm so proud that we offer this service to folks. This is a very fun opportunity for those who might be on the call who are part of an internship or some kind of, you need to do some kind of volunteer work or anything like that. You're figuring out what you want to do. You can arrange a volunteering with me to do optical character recognition revisions on our website. I've actually had a couple students do that with me as a volunteer project, and they've done really great work. So that's something as an opportunity. And then for those who are just really interested in doing some kind of exciting while you're looking at newspapers, it's a really wonderful opportunity to go in and fix these and make them even better for researchers. And this is really important for genealogists too, because like sometimes that OCR text will not be quite right, and that's the difference between, finding your great-great-grandfather and not, right? So if you can go in and fix some of this text and make it even better, then it's just such a helpful aspect for researchers. And I'll kind of show you guys again when we do the live demonstration of the website. I'll kind of show you what this looks like in real time. So you can also save the page as a PDF and arrange research in private lists. So if you create an account, you can create your own sort of list of websites, a list of titles rather, search items that you found for your own particular research. You can also use the tags function, which I'll show you too. So if you right click on the page when you're on the website, it'll pull up a PDF. You the text, you can correct the page text or add to your private list. So you can do all of that, and that's pretty cool. And then I always kind of like this headline. It says, Southern Democrats defend Bilbo. At one point, there was a congressperson named Theodore G. Bilbo. It's kind of fun because if any of you are Lord of the Rings fans, it's just kind of a neat thing. The guy's name is Bilbo. Okay, so that's like the formal presentation component. Now I'm actually going to show you guys the website. So we're switching over to the website component now. Can you guys still see the website? Can y'all see it? Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm working with no visuals from the other end, so I appreciate you guys. So this is our homepage, okay? And so again, we've got the collections across Indiana. We'll open this up in another tab here. Again, this is indianamemory.org, or you can type in this URL here. It's a little more clunky, but if you type in indianamemory.org, all lowercase letters all together, it'll pull right up. So this is our collections across Indiana. You can also choose by county here. So if you right click on that, it'll give you everything from, I think, Marion County, or maybe not, sure exactly. There it goes. And then it kind of changes things. You can do Marion County collections, so on and so forth, Hendricks County. So that's what we've got here. And then again, of course, you have the full collection list you can search from. And then this is the full list with descriptions. This full list, when you pull it up, will provide you a description and then a link that will take you to the full page. And then, so I apologize, my computer is being a little slow, trying to maybe get rid of some necessary programs here. So that gives you a full listing as well, okay? And then you can also search by like repository, part organization type, so on and so forth. If you wanted to search by type, it would pull up here on the website and you could see the different ones. So like you can have objects, audiovisual, archives, scrapbooks, photographs, and so on. But let's say you wanted to do a specific search. So you go up here at the top, and we're going to go with James Wickham Reilly, the famed Hoosier poet. This is always my go-to example. So when you type in James Wickham Reilly, it'll actually pop up a bunch of different things for you that you can actually choose from. Some of these are going to be titles of specific objects that you can click on. We're just going to go ahead and click on his name. And it's going to pull up the results here. So here's the results. And we're going to go to one of my all-time favorite images. It's about halfway down the page. It's going to be James Wickham Reilly with children. So you can click on the individual, and you can see here we've got James Wickham Reilly with children. It provides you with the description, and we provide you with most of the metadata here, so on and so forth. Then if you either click on the image or you click on this link here, it'll actually take you to the individual record that we have in Content DM. This particular object is actually in our Indiana State Library digital collections. So it is a compound object, so it's got a front and it's got a back. So there's the front again. So you can see it's right there. And then metadata is down here. with the name, title, description, subjects, who took the photograph, time period, our right statement. So this one's an in copyright educational use permitted. And then if you want to get a better look at the view, this is really where I love it. So if you click on this little button right here, you can also, just as a quick sign up before we do that, you can download the image. You can also print it if you'd like. So we'll click on this and it pulls it up in its own little separate photo viewer, which I really, really like. This is a new component to Content DM that I just love. And you can zoom in, you get real close. Got it with a little puppy. Puppy's cute. We got the kids here and they're having a fun time at the Reilly home. So you can zoom in and zoom out. Really love this new photo viewer in Content DM. It's so much better than what people used to have to work with. So really happy with that. And again, you know, you have other search results. So let's actually throw it to another, let's throw it to another different collection. So let's go with this, didn't mean to, but I guess it's a picture of James Wickham Reilly's bathroom. And so this is actually from our friends over at the Indianapolis Public Library. This is part of their digital indie collection. And so looks pretty much similar to ours. They are also in Content DM. And again, like we did before, you can see the metadata, and then you can pop out the image, zoom in, zoom out. It's actually quite a nice sink. Interesting bathtub with the wood there. But yep, so that's that. And then what we'll do as well is, I'm gonna see here. And then you can also search like related ones. So I'll show you the faceted results as well. So you can like choose by subject, you can choose by collection, you can also choose by repository, and then the era. So if you wanted a particular decade, you could choose that too. What we're going to do now is I'm actually going to show you a non-Content DM partner. I'm going to show you something from Indiana Album. Indiana Album is an amazing repository of materials. It's a nonprofit that does incredible work on digitizing some of the most obscure stuff about Indianapolis and Indiana you could find. And so we're going to click on theirs. They host their materials on Past Perfect, which is that other type of digital collection, digital content management system. So again, we've got the image, we've got the metadata, we've got our right statement, and then if you click on the image here, it'll pull up. Now this one does not have the zoom in, zoom out, but you can always download the image if you do a right click, and so on and so forth. So beautiful, beautiful postcard. Gotta love those old postcards, they're great. So this is an example of a non-Content DM based collection. So if you're a library out there in Indiana and you're using something else and you're interested in getting involved with us as a partner of Indiana Memory, feel free to reach out to me with the contact information provided. And then as researchers, it's just kind of amazing to be able to have all of these different kind of repositories. So, and then one other thing we can show you real quick with this is, so if we go back to the home page, actually do it this way. So you go back to the home page here, we've got the Indiana Newspapers tab. If you click this, it'll take you right to Hoosier State Chronicles. And then I'm also going to pull up Chronicling America as well. I'm going to show you that too. So this is Hoosier State Chronicles. As you can tell, the homepage has actually changed slightly since the screen caps I took for the previous presentation. You can register right here if you want to become a registered user with the account. I'm going to log in with my account. So now I'm logged in. So as you can see, we also have over here on the right, you'll see our top text correctors. And you could be one of the lucky ones here if you really got interested in correcting text. You could knock off RI hints here off the top, but you could be part of the top 5 if you wanted to. So let's go to search, okay? So we're going to search now. Now the search is slightly different than the original website. So I'm going to show you how it's a little bit different. So you'll notice here, there isn't like, well, wait, where do I do advanced search, right? You only just have the bar. Well, if you click this little button here, it's got these three little lines. It's like an upside down triangle. If you click on that, it'll pop up all of those extra search terms for you. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to search for James Wickham Reilly. And we can search, like I said, we can search by facet. We can change it by date range. We can change it by title and so on and so forth. Search summaries can be text, images, or so on. We're going to go ahead and do a quick search. Hold on. Oh, hit the wrong button. That's search history. So go ahead and hit that little search there, a little magnifying glass. Boom, here we go. So you'll see here, wow, we have almost 6,500 hits for James Wickham Reilly. Then you have all these different here on the side and so on and so forth. Now, this is going to be best match first. You can also arrange it by title. You can arrange it by date. I tend to do that where I put the oldest dates first. Just makes things a little bit easier. The one reason why you, like with names, for example, with James Wickham Reilly, why it's better to put his name in quotes is because if you just typed in James Wickham Reilly, you're also going to get all the hits for James Wickham, who was the former Indiana governor from the 1840s, who James Wickham Reilly is named after. So when you put in those little quotes, it actually narrows that search. You're not getting all that extra stuff you don't want to say. So let's click on the earliest search result that we have. This is from October 17th, 1879. And you'll notice here, we've got our amusements, Reilly's lecture at the Park Theater. You can also make this a little bit bigger. My MacBook screen's a little small, so if you have a little bit of a bigger computer, you'll get a much better view. You can also zoom in. And then we have our searchable text over here on the side. And you'll notice, well, correct this text. Now, if you're a certified user, if you're a registered user, you can correct this text. And you can go in, and you can select an area to correct. We're going to click on this. And you'll see here, first class audience till the park. Looks like this one was already really fixed, but we're going to fix a couple of things here. So that's Dan, and that is Macaulay, but it looks like it's Macaulay. This little speech, Longfellow. Here we go, German English. Hoosier. Sometimes it'll have this built into your web browser and you can pull it up, and other times you'll have to type it yourself. So we've got that old sweetheart. We can change that. Tree toad, one of the most original and absurd of conceits. When you fixed all of this, evening on the occasion, entered by his friends. His own writing, short extracts, okay. And again, this just makes this even easier for people to use. You can choose that block is completely correct. I'm going to change that to a capital O, and you can hit save and move on to the next one, or you can click exit and get out of it. And that just makes the text a little bit easier. The next thing I'm going to show you is our tags feature. So if you want to tag this, so you can download a PDF, you can get the text, correct the page text, and add to private list, right? So if you wanted to add this, let's see. Yeah. So if you wanted to add a comment, you can add a comment here. If you want to add a tag, you can add the tag James Wickham Reilly, and you can add this tag. And now it has a tag on it, which is awesome. Now, let's go back to the home page. I'll show you what those tags do. Tags are great because they're a really wonderful way of being able to organize your search. So let's say you have a registered account and you're doing research on a particular person in your family history, and you want to tag all of those people with one name. So you get a sense of clicking on that name, and it pulls up all those results that are specific to that name. So let's go to tags. And you'll notice we have here, we'll go to, got all of these here. So you'll see James Wickham Reilly. We have one, you click on that, and it pulls up the one we just did. Now, a few years back, I did research on the legendary bank robbing Reno gang, basis for that classic silent movie, The Great Train Robbery, if any of you guys have ever seen that. And I was doing research and I decided to go ahead and put all of those Reno gang articles together with tags. The reason I did this was because a lot of the articles that I found that I knew were about the Reno gang didn't actually name them. And so I had to go in and add them here. So you can search all of those Reno gang articles here, and you'll know that they're related to the Reno gang. I think the tags feature is one of the most underutilized parts of Hoosier State Chronicles that is so cool. And I think it would be amazing for researchers to use the tag feature, especially genealogists, when you're collecting information. Because you could even broaden it out. I mean, you could do like, so-and-so family, and then have all of that under that one tag and then pull everything up when you're doing research. So tags are great. It's another benefit of having a free registered account on Hoosier State Chronicles. So that's the Hoosier State Chronicles website. I'm also going to show you Chronicling America. Chronicling America is the national website where we feed newspapers into, but it's stuff from all over the country. Their date range is even farther back than ours. They only have titles that go up to 1963. Ours go up to 2018, but that's just because of copyright reasons. But they do have stuff that goes back all the way to 1777, which is pretty amazing. So let's go ahead and do the same thing we did before. You can search by date, you can search by state. We're going to search by state, and we're also going to do James. We're also going to put this in quotes as well. James Wickham Reilly. We're going to search that here. Now, the Hoosier State Chronicles, sorry, not the Hoosier State Chronicles, the Chronicling America website is a little bit different. As you can see, the faceted results are a little bit different. You can do it in gallery. You can also do it in a list view. So we can pull these up by list view. It's just not as good looking, so I like to use the gallery view. Gallery view is a lot better, but you can do a list if you prefer. Again, you can search by oldest. You can search by date, state, and title. And we're going to pull this up. This is from an issue of the Indianapolis Times from 1935. So Wickham Reilly had already been deceased for quite some time. But as you'll notice, the results are not as faceted. Like I'm getting all kinds of Reileys and so on and so forth. But you'll notice here, so we have Miss Nanny Ewing. She cooked for Reilly, composed verses on the spot to express his appreciation to cook for preparation of favorite dishes. Well, that's an interesting story. I've never seen this before. But again, like with Hoosier State Chronicles, you can zoom in and out. If you go down to the bottom, you can also have a permanent link. This is a citation for researchers. And then you can download the text, the PDF, or a JP2000 image. You can also do any kind of screen caps if you want. That's another option with Hoosier State Chronicles as well. So for example, if you're looking at something, we'll just pull this up real quick. If you want to do a crop, you can totally do a crop. So you click this little scissor here, and then you can just pick the image, hit the check, and then that image is right there. So you can do cropping, you do snipping tools, so on and so forth. Same with Chronicling America. So we're going to actually do that right now. Again, it's this little scissor here, and it just pulls the particular page, the section of the page that you're interested in. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Again, you can download the PDF here, text, so on and so forth. The Chronicling America website doesn't have as many features as the Hoosier State Chronicles website, but it's still pretty robust. And again, it's going to give you an even wider net. So like if you are a genealogist and you're doing genealogy search, and for most Hoosiers, most of our story here goes kind of one of two tracks, right? For most of us, it's going to be upland Southerners who largely came from, Scotch Irish or English. They came over, and they were originally maybe in Virginia, and then they made their way to Kentucky, and then they made their way to Indiana. A lot of Hoosier ancestries like that. Or it's the other option where if it's mid-19th century, you might be of German heritage. For example, I happen to be both. So on my mom's side, A lot of my ancestry is German. One of my German relatives was my great-grandfather, who was a tailor who came over to America in 1849 and eventually settled in Baltimore, Maryland. His name was Heinrich Baker, and then his son went to Cincinnati, and then his son went to Peru, Indiana, which is how I ended up being kind of a Hoosier. Then on my dad's side, the Clark family, they go all the way back to Ireland. I had a great-grandfather who fought in the Civil War in Sherman's army, in Sherman's division with the March to the Sea. And so, again, Scots-Irish, came over, been here for a long time. So those are two tracks. And so the nice thing about Chronicling America is that you can look for papers from Virginia all the way back to the 1770s, or Kentucky all the way back to the 1780s and 90s and early 1800s. You can search in Ohio newspapers, you can search in Illinois and Michigan. So it's a really great tool that gets your search even farther than what Hoosier State Chronicles can provide. And so these two together are really robust tools. That guy looks familiar. Who is that? Will Gottschalk. That looked like J. Frank Hanley, former governor of Indiana. It's not him though. But anyway, so yeah. So those are all of the different tools at your disposal. And again, all of these are free to you. These are public services that you can take advantage of anytime from the comfort of your home, from the comfort of a library. You can even pull this stuff up on your phone. And so we're really happy with being able to provide these resources free to everyone and anyone who is doing research.